जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Today we'll start with chapter 1, observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and we are going to discuss verse number 1. But before discussing that, today afternoon, final rites of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj was performed in Florida. It was a very, very heartbreaking moment to see Maharaj leave all of us. Srila Prabhupada says that the spiritual master lives forever by his divine instruction, and the disciples live with him by following his teachings. And in Adi Leela chapter 1, text 35, Srila Prabhupada says that the service of the spiritual master is essential. If there is no chance to serve the spiritual master directly, a devotee should serve him by remembering his instructions. So, the instructions and the interactions of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami with Srila Prabhupada is very nicely given in this book which Maharaj wrote a couple of years back. The book name is Ocean of Mercy. And Maharaj actually narrates his interaction with Srila Prabhupada, and we were really very fortunate to receive a copy of this book autographed by His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj. We will cherish this throughout our life. I highly recommend all of you to read this book whenever you get chance. So before starting our journey of the verse by verse study of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, I pray to His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj and my Guru Maharaj and all the current and predecessor Acharyas, so that I can present this divine message of Lord Shri Krishna in the line of disciplic succession as it is. Thank you. His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj ki jai. So now we'll begin with text 1. I'll read the Sanskrit first, and then we'll go over the details. So the Bhagavad Gita begins with Dhritarashtra speaking this. Okay. Dhritarashtravacha dharmakshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsavaha mamaka pandavaschaiva kima kurvata sanjaya. So Dhritarashtra said, this is what is spoken by Dhritarashtra, and there are like 4 lines in this verse. So for our reference purpose, we can say that the first line is 1.1, chapter 1, verse 1a, and then the second line would be 1.1.b. So in future when I reference like this, you know what I'm referencing. 1.1.c is Mamaka Pandavas Chaiva, and 1.1.2 is Kim Akurvata Sanjaya. So this verse says, Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra desiring to fight, what did they do? So Dhritarashtra over here, first line is saying this, that Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetra means he is saying that the Kurukshetra is Dharma Kshetra, and then in Kurukshetra the sons of Pandavas and Mamaka means sons of mine, Duryodhan and his brothers and relatives and friends, they have assembled to fight. Samaveta Yuyutsavaha. And then finally saying in the last line, Kim Akurvata Sanjaya. What did they do? And to whom he is asking this question? He is asking this question to Sanjaya. So Dhritarashtra, as we saw this diagram yesterday, Dhritarashtra is a brother of Pandu. And when Pandu was actually king and was coronated as a king, but Pandu was younger to Dhritarashtra. Because Dhritarashtra was blind, he was not given the kingdom. But when after some time, Pandu, he wanted to renounce his life, so he went to jungle. So at that time, Dhritarashtra was made the king. Though he was the king, he did not actually fight. But his sons and Pandavas, they came to the battlefield to fight, and he was eager and anxious to know what was going on in the battlefield. So before the battle of Kurukshetra, before the war, there were a lot of negotiation. Actually, finally Krishna also came for negotiation. And then Krishna, while after the negotiation was done, Duryodhana said that I will not give anything to the Pandavas. At that time, Duryodhana wanted to capture Krishna. But then Krishna showed his Virat Rupa. And at that time, Dhritarashtra requested Krishna that he wanted to see that form of Krishna. So at that time, he was given a vision to see. This was the first time he was given the vision, and the only time. And then he could see the universal form of Krishna. And after that, the war was imminent, and Vyasdev came before the war, and he said to Dhritarashtra that if you want, I can give you the vision so that you can see the war. But he said, no, I don't want to see. He kind of knew what is going to happen. So he said, I don't want to see, but you can give the vision to Sanjaya. Sanjaya was his secretary. So Dhritarashtra was advised many times, that you should not allow this fratricidal war. Fratricidal war is war between two brothers or relatives to happen. But he was so attached to actually Duryodhana that, he heard what Duryodhana said, and in his back of his mind, it was always that Duryodhana should win this war, and then he should become the king. So we see that, Sanjaya was given this power, and we think that, this power was like something he could see, where he was sitting in Hastinapur, and the war was going on in Kurukshetra battlefield. But from long distance, he could see every corner. Actually, he could hear and see, not only going on in every corner, but he could also see and hear everything happening at one time. So that was the remarkable vision that was imparted to Sanjaya. Sanjaya was the secretary of Dhritarashtra. So this kind of things were possible, by it's not through the normal eyes we can see, but it is given. This kind of vision is given by one who is Siddha. So Vyasdev is a Siddha, and he can impart his Siddhi of seeing something which is happening at the distance. So mind has power to do that. Right? Currently our science doesn't have the techniques to do this, but this was there at the time of Kurukshetra war. It was this kind of siddhis were there. So Dhritarashtra, he is inquisitive to know what is going on in the battlefield between his son and the son of the Pandu, King Pandu. But, as we know that he is saying that they have come in the battlefield to fight. But then why is asking this question? What's going on? Because he may be expecting some different results. The fight may happen or may not happen. So he is anxious to know that. That's why he is asking this question. Okay. So let's read the purport. The purport is given by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So here is Dhritarashtra. He is blind, he can't see. But Sanjaya, who was given the vision to see, he could see, and then he narrated what he is seeing. So in the purport, which is generally the purports are the commentary of details given how to understand this particular verse. So Srila Prabhupada in his purport is saying that how to study Bhagavad Gita. That's the first paragraph. So Prabhupada says Bhagavad Gita is widely read as theistic science summarized in the Gita Mahatmya. Gita Mahatmya is a glorification of Gita, which was given by Shankaracharya. So it's a theistic science. There it says one should read Bhagavad Gita very scrutinizingly with the help of a person who is a devotee of Sri Krishna and try to understand it without personally motivated interpretation. So that's why we are studying the purports of Srila Prabhupada, because Prabhupada is trying to give the message as it was given in the disciplic succession. And we are going to study in details with examples and whatever is given in the purport and try to understand in details. So one should read very scrutinizingly, read each and every line and try to understand the connections. How to understand Bhagavad Gita? The example of clear understanding is there in the Bhagavad Gita itself. In the way the teaching is understood by Arjuna, who heard the Gita directly from the Lord. So we must understand the Gita as it was understood by Arjuna himself. So when Arjuna actually expresses what his understanding is in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he reveals who is Krishna. So if our understanding matches Arjuna's understanding, that means we have also understood this knowledge. If someone is fortunate enough to understand Bhagavad Gita in that line of disciplic succession without motivated interpretation, so if somebody is fortunate, they will try to understand Gita in disciplic succession and without personal interpretation or motivation, without trying to gain something out of this message personally. And what will the result? The result of such study is then he surpasses all the studies of Vedic wisdom and all scriptures of the world. So Bhagavad Gita in essence has the content of Bhagavad Gita is such that it is the essence of all the Vedic literatures. And Krishna reveals that in Bhagavad Gita itself in chapter 15, verse number 15. It is the essence of the knowledge, essence of all the Vedic scriptures, and the essence is Vedescha Sarvair Ahameva Vidya. To know Krishna is the essence of entire Veda. Bhagavad Gita chapter 15 verse 15. Krishna explains that. And then next Prabhupada explains what is the specific standard of the Gita. So one will find in Bhagavad Gita all that is contained in other scriptures. So it is the essence of all the scriptures. Whatever is contained in any other scripture is there in this. But it is there in principle. The details may be there in those scriptures. But the principle is given here in Bhagavad Gita. But the readers will also find things which are not to be found elsewhere. Like in other scriptures, because this is Krishna spoke this message directly. So Krishna reveals all the secret knowledge about himself in this book, which is not there in every books actually, basically Vedas. It doesn't have in details how Krishna is revealing about himself. That is the specific standard of Gita. So this is how Gita should be seen, that it is containing information that is in other scriptures, but other scriptures doesn't have information what is there in Gita. And therefore Prabhupada said Bhagavad Gita is a perfect theistic science. It is the perfect theistic science because it is directly spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. So it is a Shruti. Shruti is directly heard from God. So because Arjuna is hearing directly from the Lord, it is Shruti. But it is also coming under the sixth Parva, Bhishma Parva of Mahabharata. So it is within the Smriti. So it is actually a Shruti within the Smriti. So what is basic principle of Gita? The topics discussed by Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya as described in the Mahabharata form the basic principle for this great philosophy. So what is the topic? So here we see like 3 levels of discussion as we discussed in the previous session. There are 3 levels of discussion. First level of discussion is between Maharaj Janmejaya and Vaishampayana Rishi. He is actually disciple of Vyasadeva and he is explaining the Mahabharata to Janmejaya, who was a grandson of Maharaj Parikshit. So Maharaj Parikshit is so Janmejaya is here, and Maharaj Parikshit is the son of Abhimanyu and Uttara. Abhimanyu is the son of Arjuna and Subhadra. So you see that Janmejaya is hearing about the narration, what is going on in the battlefield of basically the whole story of Mahabharata from Vaishampayan Rishi, who is actually a disciple of Vyasadeva. So coming back to this, the topics discussed by Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya as described in the Mahabharata form the basic principle of this great philosophy. It is understood that this philosophy evolved on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, which is a sacred place of pilgrimage from the immemorial time of Vedic age. So Kurukshetra, even before this war happened, was a place of pilgrimage. It's a sacred place. And sacred place has its vibration. Like for example, if you go to temple, it's a sacred place. And this place is actually, when somebody goes there, it affects their mind. Their minds become peaceful. It's having a calming effect. So we may not actually, or people in general, when they go to temple, they may not, attribute that peace or calming effect which they have on the presence of the deities. But it is because the Lord is present there. You can feel the vibration of the Lord. Okay? So similarly, this place, Kurukshetra, is a very sacred place. And because it is a sacred place, it will have its own vibration. And that's why Kurukshetra is called as Dharma Kshetra. Dharma Kshetra is a holy place. Okay? So, and that's one of the reasons that Dhritarashtra is thinking that because this war is happening in Kurukshetra, which is a Dharma Kshetra, so the effects will be different, right? And in holy place, the people who are pious, they become more powerful. So in Veda also it is referred that Kurukshetra is a holy place, and Lord Parshuram performed austerities, after he wiped off the Kshatriyas from the world 21 times, So this is the description about the Kurukshetra. So it is understood that this philosophy evolved in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, which is a sacred place of pilgrimage from the immemorial time. It is given from the Vedic place. So many sages come there and perform, their practices there in this place, and that's why this place has become very, very powerful, surcharged with spiritual energy. It was spoken by the Lord when he was present personally on this planet for the guidance of mankind. So the purpose of Bhagavad Gita was to actually help the mankind. And Arjuna was made as, the instrument. Krishna used Arjuna as an instrument to deliver this message to us. So this presentation actually summarizes what it is written up, Significance of Dharma Kshetra. So because Kurukshetra is named as Dharma Kshetra, and Dhritarashtra is saying Dharma Kshetra Kurukshetra. So Prabhupada is explaining, part of which we have already discussed a little bit back, is the word Dharmakshetra is a place where religious rituals are performed, is significant because on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the personality of Godhead was present on the side of Arjuna. So this makes Arjuna more powerful because first of all, the place Dharmakshetra Kurukshetra is a religious place. The place has its potency. Plus, on top of it, and the most importantly, is Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead is inside of Arjuna. Dhritarashtra, the father of the Kurus, was highly doubtful about the possibility of his son's ultimate victory because he knows that the place, the potency of the place plays a very important role in the decisions of this kind of wars. So he had doubts in his mind, very highly doubtful about the possibility of his son's ultimate victory. In his doubts, he inquires from his secretary Sanjaya. That's why he inquires from his secretary. What did they do? Finally, what did they do? They went there, but is the war going on? He was confident that both his sons and the sons of his younger brother Pandu were assembled in the field of Kurukshetra for a determined engagement of war. Still, his inquiry is significant. He did not want a compromise between the cousin brothers, and he wanted to be sure that the fate of his son on the battlefield. So he was in doubt. Sometimes he thinks that his sons will win, and he wanted his sons to win. That was his desire. At the same time, in the back of his mind, he had all this knowledge about where this war is going on, who is Lord Krishna, because he has already taken darshan of Krishna, as we discussed earlier. He has taken darshan of Krishna, so he knows he is Supreme Lord. And Supreme Lord is on the side of the Pandavas. But still, he wanted the Kauravas or his sons and the party to defeat actually the Pandavas and usurp the kingdom. So that's why he wanted the battle to happen. Because the battle was arranged to be fought at Kurukshetra, which is mentioned elsewhere in the Vedas as a place of worship, even the denizens of heavens, even for the denizens of heavens, even the heavenly, the personalities from the heavenly planet, they also come and perform some tapasya, some worship in Kurukshetra. So Dhritarashtra became very fearful about the influence of the holy place on the outcome of the battle. He knew very well that this would influence Arjuna and the sons of Pandu favorably because they were very genuine devotees. So because of their nature and support of Krishna, he knew that this place would act favorably on them. Because by nature they were all virtuous. So Pandavas were virtuous. So now Prabhupada talks about who is Sanjaya. So Sanjaya was a student of Vyasa. And therefore, by the mercy of Vyasa, Sanjaya was able to envision the battlefield of Kurukshetra even while he was in the room of Dhritarashtra. And so Dhritarashtra asked him about the situation in the battlefield. So because Dhritarashtra was asked by Vyasa that he want to see or not, and he said, no, I don't want to see. I have not seen my sons my entire life, and I cannot see them even at the time of their death. So he was thinking like that. How can I see them losing? If at all they are losing, because he was thinking that they should win. That was his desire. So he said to Vyasadeva that please give this vision to Sanjaya. And by the mercy of Vyasadeva, Sanjaya got this vision, and he was sitting in Hastinapur, and just by sitting in Hastinapur he could still see what is going on in Kurukshetra. That was the spiritual television kind of thing. This verse also shows the mindset of Dhritarashtra, partisan man. See, he is favoring one side. So both the Pandavas and the sons of Dhritarashtra belong to the same family. But Dhritarashtra's mind is disclosed herein. How is disclosed? He is saying that Mamaka Pandavas Chaiva, my sons and the sons of Pandu. So that's how though they are from the same family, he is distinguishing that it is Mamaka, means my sons, and Pandavas, so sons of Pandu. He deliberately claimed only his son as Kurus, because Kuru, a word is used later, right? Kima Kuruvata Sanjaya. So he deliberately claimed only his sons were Kurus, and he separated the sons of Pandu from the family heritage. So this was one family, Kuru dynasty. So if you see, we over here will say Kuru family. Within the Kuru family, this whole lineage is there. So, but by identifying himself, Mamakas as Kurus and Pandavas as separate, he's partitioning the family. One can thus understand the specific position of Dhritarashtra in his relation with his nephews, the son of Pandus. So he didn't have that one family kind of feeling for the Pandavas. He always distinguished. So see, here is inquiring, and this is what is narrated by Sanjaya, and the background is what is going on in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Now there is an analogy given by Prabhupada towards the end of the purport. He is saying that as in the battle in the paddy field, the unnecessary plants are taken out. So it is expected from the very beginning of these topics that in the religious field of Kurukshetra, where the father of the religion, Sri Krishna, was present, the unwanted plants like Dhritarashtra's son, Duryodhana, and others would be wiped out, and thoroughly religious persons headed by Yudhishthir would be established by the Lord. So this was actually Lord's purpose. Lord's purpose is Paritranaya sadhuna vinasaya cha duskritam dharma samstarpanathaya. So Paritrana, he is protecting the sadhus, vinasaya cha duskrita. He will annihilate all the miscreants, and then he will re-establish the religious process which is broken. Dharma samstarpanarthaya. So it is expected as in the paddy field. So sometimes you see in the paddy field, along with the rice, all this kind of weeds are growing. So as unnecessary weeds are taken out from the paddy field, similarly in the religious field of Kurukshetra, in the presence of the father of religion, Lord Sri Krishna, the unwanted weeds will be taken out. So what are these unwanted weeds? The Duryodhana and his party. So Duryodhana and his brothers and whoever is supporting Duryodhana in this irreligion, they will all be taken out. Who will take it out? They will be taken out by Lord Sri Krishna himself. Right? In the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna shows Arjuna that I have already killed them. You just become nimitta. You just become my instrument. And if you don't do it, I'll use another person as instrument. So you just become my instrument. That's what Krishna is saying to Arjuna. So actually this is done by Krishna himself. Arjuna is just the nimitta. So let's read it completely. So Sri Krishna was present, and unwanted plants like Dhritarashtra's son, Duryodhana, other would be wiped out. And then Yudhishthir would be established by the Lord. This is the significance of the word Dharmakshetra and Kurukshetra, apart from their historical and Vedic importance. So this is what is going to happen. Prabhupada is saying right in the beginning, right, that the importance of the word Dharmakshetra and Kurukshetra is that all the miscreants will be wiped off, and religious persons headed by Yudhishthira Maharaj would be established by the Lord. So the last line of the verse says that Kim Akurvata Sanjaya. What is going on there? What is happening there? So that actually, Kim Akurvata Sanjaya, what is going on in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, what did they do? That will be answered in the 18th chapter, 78th verse, in the last verse of Bhagavad Gita. You know that Arjuna actually, he heard Bhagavad Gita and then he picked up his bow and arrow to fight. And then wherever there is actually, let's see the answer given by Sanjaya 18.78. He says that wherever there is Krishna and wherever there is Arjuna, so there is always Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna Yatra Partha Dhanurdhara Tatra Srir Vijayo Bhutir Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. Wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will also certainly be opulence, victory, and extraordinary power and morality. That is my opinion. So this is what is going to happen. That they are going to win this war. They are going to fight and they are going to win this war. Okay. So with this, I think all the points covered in this verse is being discussed, and we will see that actually Sanjaya will start answering in the second verse, right? See, this is Sanjaya Vacha. So in the next session we'll see Sanjaya is describing to Duryodhana what he is seeing through his mystic potency or mystic television. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.